Today I'll be building MOC 175640, the Zvezda Moon Diorama by Sands of Aries. This MOC has 401 parts and is actually a combination of two of the designer's earlier MOCs, the L3M lunar lander and the Block D2 stage that gets the lander down to the moon. A third component, the lunar surface, has been added as a diorama base. As a bit of background, the MOC is based on an alternate history titled A Sound of Thunder, the Rise of the Soviet Super Booster, which supposes that the Russians managed to get their N1 Super Booster rocket completed and managed to get men to the moon. Now, I initially priced out the parts at Bricklink and at the Lego store. I ended up at WeBrick, simply uploaded the entire parts list, and they had everything. And it really wasn't too expensive. The total with shipping was $33. So I thought that was pretty reasonable for a 461 part MOC. And I'm just going to open it up. And here's what we have from WeBrick. Now I have ordered WeBrick parts before. I find the parts themselves just fine. Let's see what we got here. All right, I'm going to sort these, and then we'll come back when I've got it all sorted, and we'll start the build process. Well, this is the first page of the instructions. No cover or anything like that, but looks like we're going to be building the landing module right away. And there we are at step 41, the completion of the first subassembly. These are the legs of the lunar lander. This component would stay on the moon when the module takes off later. These are disposable legs, as I understand it, and they would stay on the moon when the lander takes off to return to Earth. Here we are at step 47 with that subassembly now attached atop the legs, and that's where I am too. So I just finished building this little assembly here, and upon completion it looks like it's not really attached yet. It's just hanging over the top of the previous assembly, but there is a note. In this image the top hovers above the rest of the model. That's because the top is in the end going to be there but secured by other parts. Okay, well, clearly I can't leave it hovering. I'll just have to put it down and work on it and put it on later. So I actually got to this point before I started running into an issue. And that is, this structure is extremely fragile. This top structure, and still not yet attached to the bottom here. So I've taken it apart, got it back to the base where it's at, and where I see the fragility is underneath here. Those four loose big bricks right here, they need to be locked down or connected somehow. They're never attached to anything as the process continues. So I've decided to make an executive decision. I've got one of my own pieces. I've made it a bright color so I'll know it's mine, and I'm going to lock those down like this. I think that should make all the difference as I put this structure together. And I don't think it'll make any difference to how this thing sits or attaches, but it will give it much more stability in attaching the other pieces. So here's the reassembled piece, and it is much more solid with that orange piece locking down those internal blocks. So I think I made the right decision. We'll keep on going and see how it goes. So the module is coming together, the lunar module is coming together nicely, but I have discovered a slight issue, and that is with this small assembly right here. It does not want to stay attached. You can see it just pops off. It is an offset piece that is supposed to attach to those two studs, but it doesn't seem to want to. Alright, so as you can see, I've replaced it with a 1x4, which leaves a stud on each side. It does stick nicely now. It clutch powers great. Maybe I'll just put a couple of square white tiles there. It won't look exactly right, but Oh, I think I can be satisfied with that for now. This is where the lunar lander will sit, and looking forward to getting this part done. And I am finished the 16 by 16 plate with the lunar surface on it. Here's one compromise I made. The actual astronaut figurines were slightly too expensive, and they didn't have them at Weebrick. They just had these plain ones, so I got these instead of actual astronaut ones, which I could have got from Bricklink for quite a bit more money, so I opted not to get them. And here's the finished module on the lunar surface. The opposite leg rests on the tile. The lander is a bit leaning on the side. Yes, that is true. As you can see here, we've got one landing leg connected to a hole, one less resting on a tile, giving it a slight but not overly obvious lean. So on step 93, the first step after completing the lunar surface and attaching the lander module, and that is I'm building the base or the stand to hold the crash landing stage. And this looks white to me, but these are the only suitable parts. So I've got a central white brick as suggested here, but the rest are light bluish gray, it looks like. I'm at step 109. I have completed the stand that will hold the lunar crash module. I'm at stage 126. And that is the core with apparently the engine. That's what it's going to end up looking like. That's kind of cool. This is what I've got so far, which looks pretty much like this. Well, here we have the completed landing crasher stage on its nice mount, and I've got it over here as well. Looks fantastic. There's the engine, there's the mechanism to hold it to the landing module, and here's the nice landing module, which looks just excellent. You can see the slight lean it has, and that's because it's sitting on a rock. Well, despite a few issues with the bricks, I've had a lot of fun putting this together. I think the end result looks great. The two pieces are marvelous to look at, and I think it's going to look great on my shelf. I would recommend this to anyone looking for something a little bit different to put together.